Hi, I'm Carolyn from O2BStampin.com, and I wanted to show you one of the new projects that I've just completed. It's a little gift bag that I wanted to make for my Thanksgiving table. So I made this little tag here so you can put somebody's name on it and then maybe put some after dinner mints or a little gift inside and set it around the table where you want each person to sit. So I used the Vintage Leaves stamp set, and I also used the Leaflets Framelits. Now these are the three that I didn't use, and these are the three that I will be using. So let me show you how I made this. First, I got a piece of scrap paper and my paper piercing mat, and I'm also going to use a piece of scrap paper just to protect my paper piercing mat. I'm going to bring in my Memento black ink and the stamps that I'm going to be using. I'm going to ink this up. I always like to check, make sure I've got good coverage. Sometimes it even helps if you actually pick up the ink pad and then use the technique that we call kissing. And I'm just going to stamp that. Now when you stamp these images on your paper, you want to leave enough room to make sure that you can fit your framelit around the piece without running into the next stamp. And I'm going to put this at an angle so that I will have enough room to put the little leaf that I'm going to use for my name tag up in this space right here, even though I'm not going to stamp the image because I just want it to be blank for the name. Okay, so then I am going to bring in my sponges and my ink. These three colors, so we have Pear Pizzazz, Pumpkin Pie, and So Saffron, and some sponges. I'm going to start with my lightest color first, and I'm just going to sponge a bit of color around my image. I also want to do some color in that space where I'm going to have my name tag. Okay, then I'm going to bring in my next lightest color, which is the Pear Pizzazz, and I'm going to sponge some more. I always like to sponge my stem green, but then the rest is just random. Okay, and then last I'm going to bring in my Pumpkin Pie and my sponge. Just rub a little bit more color. So you can see it's very random. If you want to go back over anything, maybe add a little bit more yellow, maybe it got covered up more than you wanted it to, you can always go back and add color. Put a little color there in the middle. Okay. Then I'm going to bring in my magnetic platform and my Thinlits. So I've got my magnetic platform cutting pad. I'm going to place my paper down, place my Thinlits over the images. And another cutting pad. Then I'm going to run it through my Big Shot. Okay, and then I'm going to set these 3 elements aside for the moment, and I'm going to bring in my gift bag punch board. One of my favorite features with the gift bag punch board is that the directions are all included right on the board, so you don't ever have to go looking for them. However, it does have a flyer that comes with it that also gives you directions and pictures with the directions, so you're covered as far as figuring out how to use this, but you can always refer back to the this video if you need some help. So I'm starting with a piece of Pear Pizzazz cardstock that measures 6 inches by 10 inches, and it has your paper width and your paper length dimensions right here in the first part of your directions. I'm going to line it up, bring it in a little closer and see if you can see the directions a little bit better. Not really, but right here this says start line with this arrow, and then there's a little widget right there. That's where I'm going to line up my paper, and I'm also pushing it all the way to the right, and then I am going to punch it. I'm going to pull out I should first pull out my bone folder. That's nice, it comes right in it, and so you don't ever lose it. And then I'm going to use the S right here where it says M, small, medium, and large. I'm making a small box, so a small bag, so I am going to actually score right down that line. If you have a problem with it jumping and not being right where you want it, one of the things that I do is just kind of give it a little back and forth right there at the beginning, and then that helps it to stay right where I want it. Okay, then I'm going to move that up to the start line, that line that I just scored. I'm going to punch it, and this time I'm going to make the side of the bag. So this was the front and this is the side. So every time you make a side, you're going to actually be using this triangle, and you're going to take your score tool, you're going to score around that. You're also going to score here where it says side 2. So this is actually the line for the first side, and this is the line for the second. If that makes sense. I thought it was a little confusing because this is actually the first side, but that's a size 2. So I hope that doesn't confuse you. And then you want to go also right down the center, right here. Then you're going to take this last score line and you're going to move it down to the start line. Again, always make sure that you look for this little pointer, that it's lined up as well. And then you're going to punch. You're not going to use this time because this now is the back of your bag. So you're coming back down to where it says small for your small bag and score. Then you're going to move this again up to your score line. So every time you're moving the last score line that you scored up to your start line, you're going to punch. Now we're doing the other side, so we're going to use the triangle again. We're going to come down the middle of this, and we're also going to use that line too. And then we're going to bring our last scored line up to the start line once more. Line that up both edges, here and here, and punch. Okay, now the last thing I want to do is to make my horizontal line. Now, some people do this as they go. I like to do mine at the end. So I'm going to place my bone folder right here. Make sure that you hold your cardstock so that's pushed in flush all the way to the right, and you're just going to come down like that. They don't want to come off the side of the board if you can at all help it. Stay within the base of the board. You can do this at the beginning or the end, or you can do it as you go along, which I believe is what the directions are going to tell you. Okay, I've done with my scoring, so I'm going to, actually, no, I'm going to keep that out for now. Then I'm going to take a pair of scissors, and I'm just going to trim this off here and there. Okay, that aside for the moment. And then we're going to bring this back and we're going to reinforce all the score marks with your bone folder. What I like to do is just kind of take the two score lines on the each side of this middle one where your side is, and I just kind of squish them together. And then that score line pretty much will fold by itself, the one in the center there. Let's do the other side. So your box should look like this. Right now I'm going to put this back so that I don't forget and lose it. And I'm going to decorate my box. I always like to decorate it before I put it together. This one you could actually do either way, but we'll go ahead and decorate it. Now, actually, I'm going to change my mind. We're going to put it together first. Now, I like to use the Tombow multi-purpose glue on this. You could also use tear and tape, but I just think this glue works the best. So I'm going to put my glue on the tab there, and then I'm going to bring my sides together like that. That way I know that the box matches up, especially at the top. And if you need to, you can always reinforce that again with a bone folder if it's a little bit off. Okay. Then for the bottom, you're just going to take the sides, push them in, then one flap, one of the larger flaps, and then you're going to put glue only on the one flap, just down the side. You don't want to put too much glue right in this area, because if you do, when you close the box, it could get down inside your box, and then everything that you put in your box is going to want to stick to it. Now, the one thing with the Tombow adhesive, being that it is liquid glue, you do have to hold it for just a few minutes to give it time to set. Okay, now we're going to decorate. So I have a piece of designer series paper here that, let's see, measures 2 by 4. I'm going to take my scissors. I'm just going to cut a small banner at the bottom. So I only cut in about 1/2 inch. The more that you cut in at the bottom, the more your banner will exaggerate. So you can see I cut up here probably more like 3/4 inch, and here maybe just more like 1/2 inch. So the more, you'll have more pointed pieces the higher up that you cut. Okay, then I'm going to take my leaves. I'm going to get my glue out again. And I'm going to put a small amount on the stem here. I don't want to get too much because it'll seep out. And then I'm just going to do some at the top of the leaf and press it down. Now, the leaves are going to hang off the side just a little bit. Take my other leaf, and again I'm just going to do the top because I want to put my sentiment underneath here, so I don't want there to be too much glue to mess with. Okay, and then I'm also going to put the piece that I'm going to add my name, or whoever's name I'm going to have at the table. I'm going to add that. Okay, then I'm going to use this small piece of Very Vanilla. It measures 3 by 7/8. you could probably make it an inch just to make it easy. I'm going to bring in my black memento ink, and I'm going to bring in actually a retired sentiment from the stamp set, Always Thankful, from a few years back. This just happened to be the only one that I could find in my collection that I thought would work really well for this, but I did go back and look to see what we have in our current selection that you could substitute, or maybe you have something you can use. I wanted something that was going to be fairly large, so I found this one, oops, sorry, that says Give Thanks, which I thought that would work really well. It's on page 43 of the holiday catalog. And there's also another one that says Giving Thanks for the Blessing of You in page 49 of the holiday catalog. It's in the Basket of Wishes stamp set. And the other one is in Sweet, S-U-I-T-E, Seasons. And then I also found one in the annual catalog. And it's on page 36 in the stamp set that says A Corny Thank You, and it says Grateful for You. You can see that right here at the bottom. Okay, so those are some substitutes that you can use. All right, so I'm going to actually again cut this into a small banner. I like banners, I just think they look very nice, so I do a lot of banners actually. I'm not sure I do much that doesn't have a banner when I'm adding my sentiment. I didn't quite get that far enough. There we go. And then on this end, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my bag. I'm going to take a gold binder clip, which if you're watching this right when I post it, these actually are on sale this week. So I want to, oops, wrong thing. I want to put this here. You can glue this banner on. I think I will actually. Again, I'm just going to glue it at the top so that when somebody goes to open it and they take the binder clip off, that it won't fall off the box. Can you see? Okay, so a little bit of glue on the back of that. Close that. Put my binder clip on. Okay, so the next thing I want to do is something that looks a little different. I've seen somewhere, and I just like the way it looked. So I want my little sentiment to go sort of crooked. And so on this side here, I'm actually going to cut off a little piece of the tag so that it'll look like this on one side. And that's the reason you don't want to glue that leaf down, so you can slide that under there. I'm going to take my Pear Pizzazz and my sponge. I'm just going to sponge this. It's another thing, I don't think I hardly ever add anything like a sentiment or something on plain white or vanilla paper that I don't end up sponging it. Okay, and then I'm just going to add a little bit of glue on the back, keep it in place, slide it under there, bring it over to the edge, get it where I want it. There we go. And voila. So the last thing I want to do is to just add a little ribbon or some type of embellishment at the top. I had some of the, what was this called? Natural and Old Olive two-tone trim. But you can use anything that you feel would work. And I'm just going to tie this in a bow to give it a little bit more interest. and then trim it. And there I have my finished product. So how'd you like that project? I hope that you enjoyed it. It's pretty simple to do, so it'd be fun to make a bunch of them, like I said, for little place markers. I'm not sure what they're called all of a sudden, at your Thanksgiving table, or just to give as a gift for anybody coming over during the fall season. So I hope you've enjoyed this. If you have, I hope that you will leave me a thumbs up or a comment on my YouTube channel, and I would love to have you stop by my blog and see if there's anything there that might inspire you or give you some ideas to make your own projects. So again, my name is Carolyn from O2B Stamping. Thanks for coming by, and drop back again soon.